The crisis of youth. On a sweltering summer evening, the sun quietly cast its final rays over an empty highway. Liam, a 19-year-old, trudged along the roadside, dragging a worn-out backpack. His steps were heavy, much like his mood. Just hours earlier, he had received the results of his university entrance exams, and his failure felt like a devastating blow to his self-esteem. Watching cars whiz by, their horns blaring, Liam felt like a grain of sand in an immense, indifferent world. Why is everything so difficult, he wondered, his eyes welling up with tears. His family had high expectations for him, and his friends were already celebrating their admissions to prestigious universities. Meanwhile, he stood there, lost and defeated. It felt as though the entire world had turned its back on him. Unwilling to face the disappointed looks at home, Liam decided to walk away, to anywhere that could provide solace from the pain. He had no destination in mind, only a desperate need for quiet, for a chance to reflect and find himself again. As night began to fall, Liam stood by the roadside, hitchhiking with a hesitant thumb extended. The wind tousled his unruly hair, carrying the scent of dry grass and road dust. "Will anyone even stop for me?" he muttered, his voice tinged with doubt. Suddenly, a rusty old truck slowed down and came to a halt right in front of him. The driver, a middle-aged man with a kind smile, leaned out of the window and asked, "Where are you headed, young man?" "Hop in, and I'll give you a lift." Liam hesitated for a moment before climbing into the truck. Inside, the vehicle smelled faintly of engine oil, its cabin filled with modest belongings, a battered old radio and some tattered maps. The driver introduced himself as Joe, an experienced trucker who had traveled countless roads. "You look exhausted. Is something bothering you?" Joe asked, his gaze full of genuine concern. Liam forced a weak smile, reluctant to share. Yet his silence only made Joe smile knowingly. "You know," Joe said softly, his eyes fixed on the road ahead, "I once thought I'd never survive the hardest days of my life. But I learned that every journey, no matter how long, starts with a single step. Want to hear my story?" For reasons he couldn't explain, Liam found Joe's calm voice comforting. Perhaps Joe's stories were exactly what he needed. That unassuming truck ride turned out to be the beginning of a profound transformation in Liam's life. In the truck, the rhythmic hum of the engine blended with the soft tunes from the old radio perched on the dashboard. Joe drove with the steady confidence of someone used to endless roads. Liam sat quietly in the passenger seat, staring out of the window but listening intently to every word Joe said. Joe's first story, failure in business. Joe began with a gentle smile, recalling his youth. "You know, Liam, when I was your age, I had big dreams too. I opened a small restaurant, thinking success would come quickly. But things didn't go as planned. Within months, I had to shut it down. I lost all my money and, worse, my confidence." Liam turned to Joe, surprised by how candidly he spoke about failure. "That failure taught me something important," Joe continued. "Sometimes you need to slow down and learn how to do things better. Failure isn't an enemy, it's a teacher. Without it, I'd never have understood the value of patience and humility." Joe's second story, driving trucks to survive. Joe gestured toward the truck with pride in his eyes. "This truck carried me through the hardest times of my life. After losing my job at a factory, I had no choice but to drive trucks to support my family. At first, I was ashamed. Driving a truck, many people saw it as a dead-end job. But then I realized every job has its value if you put your heart into it." Joe explained how long drives, solitary roads, and sunsets viewed from the highway had taught him that life's meaning isn't in what you do, but in how you live. "You see, Liam," Joe said, glancing at the young man, "life doesn't have to be glamorous. If you work with gratitude and find joy in the little things, everything will fall into place." Joe's third story, lost in a snowstorm. Joe laughed heartily as he recounted a memorable ordeal. "Once, I was driving through the mountains in winter when a blizzard hit. The snow covered everything, and I couldn't see the road. At first, I panicked, thinking I wouldn't make it through the night. But then I stopped, took a deep breath, and told myself, it's okay, just take it one step at a time. Joe shared how his calmness and determination helped him find his way out of the storm. Life's the same, Liam. Sometimes you'll feel lost, but if you stay calm and move forward little by little, the path will reveal itself. A shift in Liam's perspective. Liam sat in silence, absorbing Joe's words like a refreshing breeze sweeping through his troubled mind. He realized that failure wasn't the end, but a stepping stone to growth. Joe's simple yet profound stories felt like life lessons wrapped in wisdom. The truck rumbled along winding roads, and within Liam, a new resolve began to take shape. He no longer felt weighed down or consumed by self-blame. Instead, he saw his failures as opportunities to learn and grow stronger. Joe eventually pulled the truck over at a crossroads, pointing toward a road leading back to the town where Liam's journey began. "So, what's your choice? Keep going or head back?" Joe asked, his gaze encouraging. Liam looked at the road ahead, his heart brimming with newfound peace and courage. "I'll go back," he said firmly. "I think it's time to start over." Joe smiled, pulling a small notebook from his pocket and handing it to Liam. "Here's something I've learned over the years. Keep it, and remember, life isn't measured by what we achieve, but by how we rise after every fall." Liam took the notebook, feeling as though he'd been given an invaluable gift. Joe's journey wasn't just a truck ride. It was a journey into Liam's soul, unlocking a fresh perspective on life. A new beginning. Liam returned home at dawn as the sun cast its first golden rays across the horizon. The morning air was crisp and peaceful, mirroring his newfound resolve. Gone was the weight of failure. In its place was a determination to try again. He hesitated briefly before knocking on the door. When it opened, his mother, who had spent sleepless nights worrying, embraced him tightly. "You're home," she said, her voice trembling. Liam smiled, holding her close, silently vowing never to let failure hold him back again. He sat down and recounted everything. The truck ride, Joe's stories, and the wisdom he'd gained. His voice carried no trace of despair, only hope and determination. In the weeks and months that followed, Liam worked hard, not just to retake his exams, but to redefine his outlook on life. Every day, he read Joe's notebook, finding inspiration in its simple truths. Failure is a teacher, not an enemy. Find meaning in every little thing you do. When lost, slow down, stay calm, and trust yourself. Those words guided him through tough times, helping him pass his exams and discover the strength to face life's challenges with resilience. Years later, Liam, now successful and grounded, kept in touch with Joe. Sitting together in the old truck, they shared stories of new journeys. "Joe," Liam asked one day, "what do you think life truly is?" Joe gazed at the horizon, where the setting sun painted the sky in brilliant hues. "Life, Liam, is like this truck journey. Sometimes the roads are rough. Sometimes you get lost. But as long as you keep moving, you'll reach where you're meant to be. And remember, life isn't measured by how many times you fall. It's measured by how many times you get back up." As Liam walked away, he carried not just Joe's words, but also the spirit of a man who had weathered life's storms with grace. From that moment on, Liam's life was a testament to a simple truth. Failure isn't an obstacle. It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and live more meaningfully.